Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I wanted to share with you guys some of the drills or games that I play when I'm practicing my putting. One of the things that I have always grown up doing is practicing alone, and we know that golf can be a pretty lonely game in itself. But if you're just putting on the green for a very long time, it can get boring really quickly. So these are some of the things that I do to work on different aspects of my putting, just to make my putting practice exciting as well as efficient and effective. So I thought I'd share some drills with you guys that you guys can do by yourself to improve all aspects of your putting. Alright, in the last video, I talked about pace putting and pace control and how important it is to have good pace when you're putting. And I also talked about foot pass pace. So we're going to do the first game or drill kind of in accordance with that. It's basically a similar concept to what I talked about. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is an 18-footer. You can start off with whatever distance that you want, but ideally you want it to be a little bit longer so that you have some time to do this drill, which is what I'm going to discuss here. So what we're going to do here is basically we're trying to make this putt. We're going to do it. You can also putt this to a tee if you want to purely work on pace, because as we know, the hole can sometimes stop the ball. So if we don't want to see the ball go in the hole, we can just putt to a tee, which would more directly work just with pace. But here we're still going to try to make this putt, and we're gonna, if we miss it, it's going to be foot pass pace. If not, we're still going to try to putt this at a good pace. So all we're doing is looking at this hole. When I do this drill, I don't necessarily go through my entire pre-shot routine because I want to work more on my feel here. But what we're going to do is right after we putt it, we're going to kind of guess based on our feel, what do we think the ball is going to do. So for instance, let's putt this. And I think that's a bit short. Yeah, so I'm going to kind of predetermine or kind of judge based off my feel right once the ball leaves the putter face to see how good or how bad my feel is. So let's try again. Should be good. Man, that was whole speed, but if we're going by foot pass pace, that's still short. So I think the green's a bit sanded too today, so it's going to be a little bit slower. So we just need to adjust. So this is one of those drills that you can literally take 20 minutes doing, or 2 hours, depending on how long you want to work on this. Good. That's probably a foot and a half past, but I would take that. I would much rather go past the hole. That's kind of what I'm working on at this point. So this is one of those good overall drills where you're working on putting, you're working on drill, pace control, but you're also working on making putts, which I think also, yes, I know I just missed that, which I think is important overall. So this is one of those good all-rounded drills. So again, it doesn't have to be, we're working on this initial feel here. And I think this is another very important part of putting, which a lot of people don't really talk about, which is working on creating feel. I think I mentioned in the previous video that most people who are good at short game would generally classify themselves as somebody that has good feel. Good. Ooh, it's a bit slower today. That's just like whole pace, which is a bit short for my liking. But yeah, anyway, most people that have good short games would classify themselves as people that have good touch and good feel. And I think one of the reasons why a lot of people don't work on their feel, good, is because they either, one more, good, too hard maybe. Oh, it's good. It's a lot slower than I think. Sorry, I got distracted by the person there. Guys, I'm camera shy. I'm recording in front of people. Okay, back to my talk about feel. I think one of the reasons why people don't work a lot on their feel is either because they don't know how to, or they've never thought of like doing feel related drills, which I think is like significant Like if you have good feel, you're going to significantly feel an improvement in your game, because you might not necessarily like improve your technique, but you will overall improve your miss, I feel like, because your body's going to be able to tell you certain things that you would not be able to know if you don't have good feel. So I think the way in which people generally build feel is not through drills, but it's through playing for years. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys know those people who have like played for years, and technique wise they might not be super solid, but somehow they just like have a good feel, a good touch around the greens and things like that. And that's obviously through years of playing. But I mean, if there is a way to speed up the process of building feel, why wouldn't you do that, right? Eh, yeah, I knew that. So one of the things that's important, I think, is that most of the time when I putt, I pretty much know once the putter leaves the face, I mean, once the ball leaves the putter face, whether there's a chance of the ball going in the hole. Like if I genuinely feel like I know the line and I've set it up to the right line and I hit the putt and it's solid and it doesn't go in, then I know that, okay, maybe I got the wrong line. But it's super important to be able to generate this feel, because if you don't even know when you hit a solid putt, you're not going to know when you miss. And then if you don't know when you miss, you're not going to know what you need to work on in your putting or in your game in general. So I think it's very important to be able to generate this feel once the ball leaves the putter face, to know whether you've putted it solid or not. And it's important to know that not all solid putts are going to go in the hole and not all missed putts are going to miss the hole. A lot of times we hit bad putts and they still go in the hole. So we need to know, though, just in general, what is our putting tendency if we want to get better at putting or at chipping or whatever it is. Because I think a lot of us generally just base that off the outcome. So if we see the ball go in the hole, we're like, oh, that's a good putt. But then we are instilling this wrong feel in our body because we might have pushed the putt and went in the hole, but then our body thinks now that's a solid putt. So we don't always need to base it off the outcome, especially when you're practicing. Just build the feel and know what the ball is doing off. Okay, so as I was saying, pretty much focusing more on building feel right now. So another benefit that I think about is when you focus on building feel here, which is, feeling what the ball does when it comes off the putter face, to know whether it's a solid putt, did you push it, pull it, is it a good speed? Is that by doing that, you're also focusing more on this area rather than that area, meaning you're focusing on hitting a good solid putt rather than focusing on the outcome, which is making the putt. And a lot of times when we just focus on this part here, which is hitting a solid putt, it's going to control the result. So you don't have to worry too much about the result. But a lot of times when we tend to push or pull the putt is also because we're focused so much on the result. Sometimes maybe we're standing over the ball here and we don't feel like it's the right line. So what we tend to do is, I feel like I'm aiming too far left, I'm gonna push the putt. So no, I didn't do a very good job of pushing the putt, but you guys know what I mean. Like when you control yourself and hitting the actual putt, it will take care of the outcome. And that doesn't always mean that you're going to hit a good putt or always make your putts, but the chances of you making putts are going to be higher, and your misses are probably going to not be as bad. So as you can see here, you can do this for as long or as short as you want. You can make this as playable as you want. So for instance, putting a line, reading the putt as if you're really going to make the putt on the golf course, making it a full drill. Either way, I think this is a good overall drill that you can just be doing to work and improve on your putting. But if you guys don't feel like this is something that you can do for very long because you feel like this might be boring, also don't forget what I'm talking about here is voicing out. And you don't have to voice it out verbally, but you can say to yourself, like once you putt, like the feel, is that solid? I know I pushed that, so that's going to be right. So knowing that feel and voicing that out to yourself once you putt it, to be able to generate that feel and to be able to generate solid contact as well as good pacing and focus on this area rather than the outcome. Good. Yep. So another drill that we used to do in college is what we call 21. It's very similar to this. It's very related to this concept, and I'm going to show you guys it right now. It's more of a game concept, so maybe you guys would enjoy that more. Basically, all we're going to be doing is setting up a 21 footer, and we're going to have, I think it was a 3 or 4 point station system. 3 or 4 point system, but it's up to you guys, however you guys want to do it. So basically, it is like, I don't know, I'm going to be out of the frame if I do a 21 footer. It's roughly like, I don't know, if this is 21 footer, so the goal here is to try to, you put the tees like 1 foot by it, So if you get it within whole pace, so if you like miss the putt but you're like here, you get 0 points. If you make the putt, you get 2 points. If you're within a foot, you get 1 point. If you are past the pin but within 2 feet, you're still at 0. But if you're short, you're at -1. So the idea here is to try to make the putt, but at the same time also, if you miss it, to get it past the pin. So it's a very similar concept to what I'm talking about, and it's a good way to spend your time, because you know what? It's very easy to go from like 19 points to drop, 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 and end up coming back at 5 points. So it's definitely a game that can take a long time, but it's a great drill to be working on your pace as well as making longer distance putts. Okay guys, so I'm going to show you guys how I set up this drill so you guys have a better understanding of what I'm saying here. Like I said, all you have to do is pace out 7 paces, which is roughly 7 yards or 21 feet. And we're going to put a tee there because that's where we're going to be hitting all our putts from. And then we're going to go past the pin and we're going to put a tee roughly at foot past pace. It doesn't have to be super strict or anything, so just get an estimate. You should be able to kind of tell what foot past pace looks like. And then 2 feet by, because like I said, if you're 2 feet by the pin, you don't lose points, but any more than that you do -1. So for instance, if you hit it 3 feet by, then you're going to -1 point. And I put another tee short because if you are shorter than that, you're gonna -2 points. So if you're within area A, you're gonna -1. If you're at the whole pace, you're at 0, or if you make the putt, you're at 2. If you're in area B, you're gonna be +1, and if you are in area C, you're gonna be at 0 as well. So you're gonna accumulate these points until you get 21. So that's the aim of the game here, just to get 21 points. And what I like to do last time was, especially when you have a huge green like this, what you can do is set up an uphiller, a downhiller, a left to righter, and a right to lefter. And this is really gonna get you dialed in on your pace. So I think I'll end today's video here. In a conclusion, I kind of gave you guys today a field drill, which I think is going to help you guys to start not only incorporating more feel in your game, but maybe noticing the aspect of feel and how it can affect your game, as well as a game that you guys can play. And this is all something that can be done by yourself, or obviously you can do it or introduce it to a friend as well if you'd like. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I'm probably going to make more videos like this, because I find that whether you are someone who has a lot of time to practice or very little time to practice, a lot of people don't really know how to practice or what to do when practicing. So these are all little things that you can do to improve your game and to like end a practice session feeling like it was an effective one. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I hope you guys are looking forward to the next one.